What's up? So you know how in Ephesians it talks about we wrestle not against flesh and blood? It's because when you look at the word enemy in the Vine's Concise Dictionary of the Bible, it's rarely talking about a specific individual person. It's really talking about a faction. And when you really think about it, what it really means is that our enemy is an ideology. Okay, our enemy is wrong thinking. And I don't want to get into being like what Orwell's talking about with that particular ministry of truth and forcing people to think a certain way, because force is not the way to harmony. Force causes resentment, and it causes people to want to rebel, and that's just not going to be a successful way of bringing everybody to a place of unity. The way to unity is to appeal the truth. Well, what is truth? Truth is documented, verified, factual evidence confirming the way things really are, which that's the definition of reality. So truth is the documented, verified, factual evidence confirming the way that things really are. And when you appeal that to people, and people are forced to recognize their position with reality, then you have a lot greater likelihood of winning them over to your side. Okay, and so right now what we have going on in our world is we have a spiritual battle taking place, but we have people that are spiritually disabled, mentally disabled, and ultimately when you have that combination, you have 2/3 of your being that are out of line. You have people that are really operating at a level that ends up impacting their physical being as well. And one of the ways the enemy is attacking people in this current time is through our avenues of entertainment. And people think, oh, it's just a song, it's just a show. That's not the case. Okay, the people who are in charge of the avenues of entertainment, they understand how to manipulate people's perception of things that are going on in our society. And so I talk to my kids about this. If you listen to a song and you're strictly there just to listen for the lyrical content, and you do not allow both sides of your brain to activate, then you can be okay. But the moment that you can't just listen, you can't just sit and listen to it like that for a long time, because it requires dedicated focus to be able to stay locked in to just analyzing on the right side of your brain, just the concrete critical thinking of analyzing the lyrics. Okay, at a certain point, that beat is going to put you into a suggestible state, and ultimately it will end up hypnotizing even an aware person when they listen to it too long. But you can really just listen to certain types of music for a reference to be able to understand more about what I'm getting at. And country music may be the worst. A lot of people that would consider themselves to be a conservative or a MAGA type person, they're out there listening to country music, and it may be the worst because it's sprinkling a little bit of good with a whole lot of bad. I mean, even the devil masquerades as an angel of light. So just because the song's talking about good country, God's country, or being blessed, or whatever it may be, when you really get down to the substance of the song, more often than not, it's not going to be in line with God's standard. Okay, and so the avenues of entertainment try to manipulate people into a state of hypnosis where they're suggestible to other things, where For example, Kenny Chesney is another artist that really does a great job of deceiving people. It's got a nice sound. He seems like a nice guy, but most of his songs are talking about getting drunk and basically just enjoying La La Land and not paying attention to things that are more important. And there are large groups of people who have been really manipulated by his music, and they just want that short-term, superficial happiness that's only sustained with more of the same, but it's ultimately detrimental to a person's overall state of being spiritually, mentally, and then physically. I mean, look at how many people in the say 30 to 55 age group, so that's like you got about 3 different generations that are encompassed there. Look at how many of them have these that are really overweight, that have these men with these massive guts on them. We used to talk about the beer gut, and that's exactly what it is, because they're listening to this music that hypnotizes them to a state where they just want to escape reality. I mean, that should be a huge indicator that you're not actually happy, that you're not in a state of right reality when you're having to poison yourself just to tolerate the life that you think that you love. And so beyond that, even the news media uses uses their access to people's lives to cause them to question the standard. And that's the main point of this video, is to get people to understand that when your avenues of entertainment cause you to determine that God's standard is in error, then you establish yourself as the judge of right and wrong, because God is the Word. So when you judge that standard to be out of order, then you determine the standard of behavior that is acceptable, and you destroy your faith in God. You switch your faith over to yourself and humanity, and then you wonder why things seem to be a certain way, and why you go through the ebbs and the flows, and why you don't have the stability of mind to be able to process what's going on. It's because it's impossible to please God without faith. God is the literal and figurative energy, essence, and meaning of the Word that establishes the standard that sets the foundation of reality. And so that's what the media tries to do, is they try to get you to say, oh, well, yeah, to each is their own, and I don't care what you do in your bedroom, and I don't care if you do this. Oh, well, you know what? That's their life. They can just live it, okay? And to have an attitude of, I'm not going to involve myself in their endeavors, that is different than to say, oh, it's no big deal, okay? Because it is a big deal. God's standard has clearly established itself. And that's one of the subtle ways that the enemy of humanity aims to manipulate and deceive so that it can still kill and destroy. So the more you know, the more aware you are, the better that you're able to avoid the traps that are set, the better that you're able to maintain your favor from God, to keep your faith in God. Faith is knowing and trusting. God is the literal and figurative energy, essence, and meaning of the Word that sets the standard, that establishes the foundation of reality. And when you start to grasp that, and you see how the avenues of entertainment are so subtle, so invasive, and so thorough in so much that we have going on, then you'll stop listening to secular music. Then you'll stop watching the garbage programming that is, it's programming, okay? It is establishing the way that you view the world. And when you realize that there are tools out there. YouTube can be a tool if it's not used as a toy. Your television can be a tool if it's not used as a toy. And one of the ways you can do that is you can watch self-help videos. You can learn how to do things. You can learn skills that are important, that are fulfilling, that will help you to be able to get off the hamster wheel so that you're not on this programmed grind they have so many people on, and that is causing people to want to poison themselves just to escape the way that things are in their life. You can do better if you want to. Conscious awareness is a huge thing. See reality for what it is and adjust accordingly. God bless.